Hello, spiritual seeker. This is Deepa Lou, and I'm the creative mystic. And I ring this bell to awaken you to your divine presence that's within you right here, right now. And today I want to talk to you about creativity. Creativity, and it's your most powerful asset. Mother Mary came to me in a meditation and told me that that's what she wanted me to talk about today because I go to her often to say, all right, what do you want me to share with others to help them, to serve them, to help them step into their greatness and step into fulfilling their holy calling? And she wants to talk about creativity and how it's your most powerful asset. She also was asking me to share with you about something I read. I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again. Read it several times. I don't know if you've read it. It's a really old book, but it has lots of good spiritual truths in it about applying it to business. So today, if you're a spiritual entrepreneur and really looking to how do I use creativity as my most powerful asset in my business, um, this is the episode for you. So, Think and Grow Rich is a book that talks about, obviously certain principles to help you have the right thoughts to grow rich. Now, it's not specific to entrepreneurs, but I'm going to relate it that way today. So, in the Think and Grow Rich book, he talks about, and I have a copy of the hardbound book. He talks about synthetic imagination and creative imagination. And when I read that, the first thing that hit me when I read the synthetic imagination and creative imagination is that imagination is actually creativity. You cannot imagine without having creativity. And so I realized when I was reading that, I, like, oh, there's really two types of creativity: synthetic creativity. And obviously, I'm not going to say creative creativity, but it's, uh, spirit creativity, infinite intelligence creativity, basically whatever you call your higher power, God creativity, that's what you're connecting with. And so synthetic creativity is about like rearranging what already exists on the physical plane. There's so many things on the physical plane that already exist, and we can actually use creativity to rearrange it, to do it differently. So you're taking basically something that already exists, an old concept, an old idea, maybe a plan of something, and you're kind of rearranging it, making it a different combination so that it serves a need that we have. You make something better for us. That's synthetic and creativity. And my best example of synthetic creativity is Amazon. Amazon. Who would think that Amazon would make uh, Jeff Bezos one of the richest men in the world, right? And he basically took everything that already existed. He's basically just a distribution company, Amazon is, that goes out, but they distribute it in a way that was faster. That met our need or desire for having things quicker, right? How many times have you wanted things like quick, 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 right now? And so they went from 2-day delivery to next day delivery to same day delivery, and they kept just improving. And then what did they do? They got even more creative in rearranging, concepts, the idea of affiliates, and they put in, this was years ago, but that you can be an affiliate, take the links, stick it on your site, and have all these people now driving business to their site by links, and then they pay these people um, some little split of it for selling basically their product. And so this is one of the greatest examples of synthetic creativity. Now, divine presence, God creativity, infinite intelligence is when there's actually, the direct communication with the divine. What some people would call downloads or intuition, is the creative power, the creative source is giving you this gift, this download of an idea. And the best example I have of that is Steve Jobs. Now, I didn't ever meet Steve Jobs, but I see all the products that were created in his company that before he died, he come up with that iPod idea. Okay. And then Apple was the first to come to market with the smartphone. Other people were in there too, because the thing about these creative um, these creativity is that all of these ideas that don't exist yet on the planet already exist on the energetic plane, and they're floating around in the ethers. And how do you connect with it? You connect with source, you tune into it, and you get a download of an idea. So, uh, I don't know if Steve Jobs did that. I know he was a meditator, and, from my understanding, I've heard stories that he gave a bunch of ideas, even now that he's deceased, um, to keep the company like with here's more ideas to come up and create. Now, of course, when you get these downloads, you have to be able to take the idea and bring it into the material plane. And that's the thing, is that you get the idea, you have to act on it to create it on the material plane. Now, some create creative source creativities ideas are not something you have to invent, like the iPod was an idea and someone had to figure out how to do it. Okay. But you still have to act on it to put it into place. Yeah, and so, but either one, though, I tell people, even if it's just rearranging old concepts, if you tune into source, to God, to divine mother, whatever you call your higher power, that is the key to the creativity being your most powerful asset. See, creativity is so important and vital because it is the source of all solutions to all problems. So you probably heard the quote from Einstein about you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem, right? So, whatever thinking paradigms, beliefs you have, and there's a problem in your life, you can't solve it with that same mindset, with that same way of thinking and paradigms and beliefs. You have to expand it beyond where your thinking is. See, you have a subconscious mind, a conscious mind, and a superconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is where you store all your memories, all your emotional wounds, your beliefs, what people call paradigms of how you go out in the world, what you believe the world is about, all of that. Okay. That keeps you operating in this little bubble that sometimes you might see where you go, gee, I keep seeing like I'm dating the same person, or I keep having the same kind of problems. Why is that? Or have you ever met people where they just always have chaos in their life? That can happen because there are paradigms that believe that the world is chaotic, and that nothing's harmonious. And so that's what they create, constant chaos in their life. And so when you have a problem in your life, if you're an entrepreneur, and even if you're happen to listen to this and you're not an entrepreneur, you know, the challenge is how do you get beyond your current paradigms and beliefs? Now, of course, I always recommend, like when I work with my clients, so that we change the program, and you have to heal those emotional wounds, because your emotional wounds that you have, whatever, causes you to react, that's an emotional wound that's getting pushed on from the past, that those need to be healed. You need to heal that and then change the programming, because the programming, sometimes people say, well, I healed this thing and I see myself still acting the same way. Why is that? I said, well, because you have programming that's causing you to do that. Neural pathways have been firing in that direction for years, even though you've healed it, you still see yourself maybe you're not reacting the same, but you see yourself falling into the habit of behaving in a similar way. So then you have to create new neural pathways, new programming, so that you can now behave differently. But you need both, because you could start working on the programming, and if you keep getting that button pushed on that old wound, you catch yourself reacting. So creativity is what comes in, so you can think beyond that subconscious mind, that subconscious thinking, so that you can actually solve every problem that comes into your life. Now, as an entrepreneur, one of the things that why I say creativity is your most powerful asset is because when you create a business, whatever kind of business you have, all right, you create it with your current paradigms and beliefs. And what a lot of people do, especially if they're healers or artists, is they create it the way they see that something already exists. In fact, a lot of clients, when I ask them how they came up with their fee, they tell me they went and looked at what other people were charging. rather than looking at what they need to make and how many hours they want to work. They just go, well, this is the going rate, and that's what they charge. And so then they're on this trading hours for dollars. And after a while, they feel like they're on the what's a gerbil wheel, because they can't keep working more and more hours. You need to sleep and everything and eat. And so that creates the problem of, how do I actually start to get to the next level? How do I step into maybe a bigger calling? I'm always talking about your holy calling. I talk about your purpose, one of the most important things. And I've come to realize in the last few months is that it's a holy calling. I realize I have a holy calling. You have a holy calling. We all have one. And it's about, how do you actually step into that? Okay. How do you actually start to manifest it? Now, holy calling, you might be thinking, so is that just your purpose? It is, but you have many purposes. I always talk about how you have more than one purpose. But your holy calling is a little bit bigger than just one of your purposes. It's something that you're supposed to fulfill, that's going to positively impact the world, people's lives in some way. Okay? Now, it could be that you're here to build wells for the people who don't have water, but also could be that maybe you're supposed to make something that's more efficient, for something that frees up people's time. Like the washing machine years ago, for women, that was like something that transformed women's lives, because they were having to wash the clothes on a washboard, pushing, pushing, pushing. And when they got the washing machines, like, oh, throw it in there, and they could go do something else. So that made, the lives of women transformative by having that washing machine. And so you want to, realize that what you do, you may be a healer and you may not be, but that doesn't mean you don't have a holy calling, because it could be you're supposed to create something that helps, transform the lives of a certain group of people, and so with that creativity, it helps you get beyond your subconscious programming and start to see possibility, because possibility is so important. If you don't think anything's possible, you won't do anything different. But creativity, when the ideas drop in, you start to go, maybe, maybe. Now, if creativity comes in and an idea comes in and you go, how's that going to be done? Or that can't be done. That's your programming stopping you. And that's where you need to get some help. If you need to find somebody who really helps with helping you reprogram, help you heal the emotional wounds. This is what I do in my spiritual success mentoring coaching, is I really help people, zero in on the very issues. I should say my spirit guide portal zero in on the very issues that you are having, that are blocking you from getting beyond those current paradigms, beyond, what needs to be healed that maybe you're not aware of. Because a lot of people know they have reactions, but they don't know what has to be healed. And then comes the second thing, is, how do you heal it? But you want to be able to zoom in on that. And that's what my spirit guides do when they work with me in my programs with people, my mentoring programs, and they zero in, and then I give the practical mentoring coaching of how do you apply what they said, and help you with that. But whether you want to work with me or not is not the issue. The issue is getting the support, because when you have these paradigms and beliefs, you get caught up in just seeing it a certain way, and you can't see that that's what's happening. You just know you're stuck, right? Or you're just going around in circles, or that you're not happy with your life, or you don't feel fulfilled. That's all you know, but you can't see the very solution because you're caught in that paradigm. Now, creativity can actually give you answers and solutions. See, but the challenge is that your programming in your subconscious mind will often prevent you from acting on it. You ever have that happen? Have an amazing idea in meditation, or maybe out for a walk in nature, and you're just like, great idea. And then what happens? Goes away. You forget because you don't act on it. Or maybe you actually write it down and remember it, because that's what I would always talk about. Like, when you get these downloads, you got to write them down, because what happens is if you don't, you'll forget. And here's the thing, is people think sometimes they've come up with an idea and someone stole it. But yet I tell people these ideas are in the ether. So multiple people are getting those ideas at the same time. It's the person who acts on it that gets the benefit. So creativity is your most powerful asset as long as you act on it. You know, if you just get download after download after download, it doesn't do you any good if you don't act on it. So you have to get the support and the framework and the mindset, the programming and the healing. You know, and this is the big one. The healing, a lot of people want to bypass that, but you got to get the healing with the reprogramming and the understanding of the law so that you can actually access creativity and act on it. So creativity is that most powerful asset because it helps you get beyond the subconscious programming for ideas. This is how you get into the different mind that Einstein was talking about. Einstein would talk about how you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created the problem. Now, he didn't go into deep explanation that I know of, but it's basically the subconscious programming you have that caused the problem or created the problem is never going to get you out of it. And so you have to go beyond that programming to the superconscious mind, to the creativity, to the, you know, God creativity, infinite intelligence creativity that is going to download some answers, some solutions into your beingness. Okay. But you got to act on it. And so I want you to really get this how creativity is so important. Now, the thing about creativity is you have to do it to cultivate it. Okay. So you have to be having an ongoing relationship with divine presence. One of the things, like with my spirit guide portals, I get these visions in meditation when I used to never be a visual person, but now I get these visions and I'm visual now compared to, you know, like when I would see nothing before, except with my eyes. Uh, the process of creating and connecting with spirit at the same time makes it even a more powerful asset. It actually kind of like superpowers it, you know, like when you're doing it, like, and the creative act, just making things and creating things that, like, whether it be art where you're painting or drawing, or maybe you create stories and you're a writer, you know, there's all kinds of creativity you can do that starts to access that creative power that comes from source whenever you're being willing to go, let me make something, because spirit, God, is always, you know, growing and expanding and creating. This energy continues to grow and expand. All right. So if this resonates with you, please subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me. And if you're ready to like do something where you really want to get support, feel free to take my gift of a complimentary connection call to find out, you know, if you're fit for my mentoring program and if it's a fit for you, because, you know, obviously it's got to be a fit both ways. And if I'm not, I encourage you to find someone else to support you, because you got to find someone to get that blind spot. You know, that blind spot is that paradigm of being stuck in that certain way of thinking. You have to have someone help you get out of that. All right. So remember, greatness is within you. It's time to let it out. Blessings.